Buongiorno, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I am going to do a full review on the whole Nomade range, as well as a full review of the newest release, Nomade Naturelle, and a full comparison between this one and Terracotta from Guerlain. So if you want to know all about the Nomade range or a full review of the newest release, then please keep on watching. But before we start, if you're new to my channel, hi, welcome. My name is Noura, and on this channel I mostly talk about fragrances. So if you are a fragrance lover, then please consider subscribing and also hit the notification bell so you will get notified when I upload any new video. Also follow me on Instagram, where I post some exclusive content that I don't do here on YouTube. And without further ado, let's start. So when first Chloe came out with the Nomade line, they said that they wanted to create a new line that is totally different to their signature Chloe fragrances. So less floral, more adventurous, more dirty in a way, and hence the name Nomade. And the inspiration was this adventurous spirit, so freedom and this longing for open spaces and also empowerment. So they created a modern take on the cheaper style fragrance, and the main character of all the flankers is oak moss and also the mirabelle fruit. So it's a combination between this sweet fruitiness with this earthy, almost dirty feeling that oak moss gives. The first flanker that came out in 2018 is the Eau de Parfum, and it's a floral cheaper. And it opens fresh, bright and citrusy, but you get from the start a floral background. You also get a lot of the mirabelle, this juicy, sweet mirabelle note. In the mid-line is where you start to see more of the peach. Still, mirabelle is the main character, but you also can smell the peach as well as the freesia. So you have in the notes rose, jasmine and freesia, but what you mostly get is freesia. I personally can't really distinguish jasmine or rose. And the freesia here is a very elegant one. My problem with freesia in general is that in a lot of fragrances it can smell to my nose a little bit cheap. Here it does not do that. It smells just fresh, bright and very elegant. It's only in the very dry down that the oak moss really dominates the fragrance. So you have to be okay with the oak moss note, not only in this one, but almost in all of them, except of the new flanker. Because oak moss is not everybody's cup of tea. It has a little bit of the sharp earthiness. Cheaper style can go a little bit like for a mature woman. This is totally a modern take on a floral cheaper, and it's beautiful fragrance. You can wear this one all year round. It's a signature worthy scent. However, I personally tend to wear the Eau de Parfum now, so during spring. In summer, I prefer the Eau de Toilette, to be honest, but still you can wear this one all year round. It's very versatile. You can wear it to work, an everyday kind of a scent, but still it gives this very elegant, bright, fun aspect to it. From all the flankers, the Eau de Parfum is the most long-lasting and the most projecting one. So it lasts for my skin for about 5 hours. However, I have to mention that I personally have problems with longevity in fragrances in general. So I think it will last much longer on other people than on me. And it also has kind of a moderate sillage, so it's not a beast mode in any way, but people can smell you. So I would highly recommend the Eau de Parfum for someone who is looking for an everyday kind of a scent, a signature scent that is a modern take on cheaper, so a little bit floral. It's also a little bit fruity, it has some sweetness, but it has this cheaper touch from the oak moss. So that was a Nomade Eau de Parfum. As expected, the next year, 2019, they came out with the Eau de Toilette, and it's a fresher, sweeter, more summer appropriate version of the original one. It has again this very beautiful, bright, citrusy opening. It has this very solar, bright, happy vibe to it. So I would consider this one the perfect version for summer. And the main difference between the eau de parfum and the eau de toilette is that this one is much sweeter. So they took out the peach and they put instead lychee. And again, it's not the lychee that you will find in a lot of designer fragrances that is a little bit sharp, synthetic. It's very, very beautiful. But again, the Mirabelle is the start of the show. So again, Mirabelle, Freesia and Oak Moss is the start of the show. It's also not so earthy, dirty like the eau de parfum. It's much solar, as I said, much brighter, and again, much sweeter. I wouldn't consider it as a sweet fragrance, but when compared to the original one, it is definitely a sweeter version, more, as I said, more summer appropriate. So overall, this is a sweeter summer version, fresher, happier version of the eau de parfum. Of course, it's an eau de toilette, so longevity and sillage is not like the eau de parfum, but it has an okay longevity. It remained on my skin for 3 to 4 hours with, again, this moderate sillage. It's not so projecting like the eau de parfum, and in my opinion, this one you don't necessarily have to love cheaper style fragrances to like this fragrance, because the more oak moss, although it's here, it's very toned down, and the sharp edge that note has is a little bit rounded by the sweetness. So that was Nomade Eau de Toilette. Again, as expected, the following year, so in 2020, they came out with Nomade Absolu. And here it's not a floral chypre, but a fruity chypre. So you can already see the main difference between this one and the other two, because they took out all the floral notes. The focus here is all Mirabelle and Oak Moss. They also added Davana like in the Eau de Toilette, but this time you can really smell it. And the result is this more earthy, sharp oak moss. Davana has a little bit of a herbaceous, sharp edge to it. So in combination with oak moss, this fragrance smells a little bit more like a forest. Not like a natural smelling forest or like piney masculine fragrances, but somehow you really can get this vibe in this fragrance, and it's a fragrance that I associate so much with fall. So when I think about fall, the first fragrance that comes to my mind is this one. Because of this naturalistic, foresty vibe that this fragrance gives me, it's the perfect fall fragrance in my opinion. You can also wear it in winter time, but for me, it just screams fall. And although the focus is Mirabelle here, it's not so sweet like the Eau de Parfum and the Eau de Toilette. It's just a slight sweetness that comes from the Mirabelle. And from all the flankers, I would say this one is the least mass pleasing. You have to test this one, don't blind buy it. Because of this sharpness that this fragrance has, it's not everybody's cup of tea, I would say. It's a unique, again, classy fragrance that is just perfect for fall for me. Surprisingly, this did not outperform the Eau de Parfum. I would say it even is less long lasting, at least on my skin, than the Eau de Parfum, but not like much. I would say both of them have almost the same longevity and sillage, but if I really have to compare them, on my skin, the Eau de Parfum does last longer. I would say like maybe for an hour, and also projects slightly more than the Absolu version. So if you were expecting a better performing fragrance, then this is not it. But if you are really into oak moss, I would say go for the Absolu version. So that was Nomade Absolu. Then we had to wait for 2 years for another flanker to come out, and this year they came out with Nomade Eau de Parfum Naturelle. Chloe is going on like this natural direction now. Since last year, they came out with Chloe Naturelle, with the main focus on a natural ingredient and recycled packaging. I did not see a lot about the packaging when it comes to this one. However, they claim that this is a 100% vegan fragrance. Good job. Because we don't need to torture or use animals to smell good. Just my opinion. However, the thing with this flanker is that although it has the signature Mirabelle and oak moss in the notes, this smells totally different. Totally different. It has nothing to do with the Nomade DNA. So looking at the notes, you will not imagine this fragrance. So you have in the top dates and Mirabelle, in the mid jasmine and freesia, and in the base you have vanilla, sandalwood and oak moss. And to me, the main notes that you get here is a lot of vanilla. You also get a lot of dates. It really gives this fragrance this sweet, thick consistency, and also some jasmine and sandalwood. So no oak moss and no Mirabelle. Actually, when I first tested this fragrance, I thought I smell an exact dupe of Terracotta from Guerlain. I actually bought the Terracotta fragrance especially to do a comparison with this one. So I have the Terracotta here, and if you go on Fragrantica, you will see that a lot of people actually compare these two to each other, and they are totally right. Are they exactly the same? No, but they have the same vibe. So the thing is that with this one, I smell coconut, tiare flower, so notes that are not listed. I don't know how, but this is what I smell. I smell a cloying santan lotion fragrance. So let's get to a comparison between these two. So looking at the notes, you would say, are you crazy? These fragrances have nothing to do with each other. But if you smell them, you will definitely get it. So let me put it out there. They are very similar, but they do have some differences. Number one, Terracotta smells definitely cheaper than Nomade Naturelle. Number two, you can get a lot of ylang ylang in Terracotta. This is, I would say, the main difference between the two is the ylang ylang that you can really smell in Terracotta, which is totally absent here. The other difference is the consistency. This is lighter, a little bit fresher in a way, while this has, because of the dates, this very thick, almost cloying consistency, I would say. Also, Terracotta is more coconutty and this one is more vanillic. So these are the main differences between the two fragrances. However, when you spray them on your skin side by side, they are very similar. The thing is that this one definitely has better performance than Terracotta. Terracotta is famous of bad performance. On my skin, it remains for 2 hours and then it's gone. It projects, I would say, weak to moderate, while this one remained on my skin for about 4 hours and had kind of a moderate sillage. The thing that I have to say is that I was totally unable to spray this fragrance in the same amount that I spray the other ones, because it's so heavy, thick. When I tried to spray it like I usually do, I got a massive headache. So I had to wash it off my skin. When I spray it mildly, I can get away with it. So with the amount of sprays that are, I think was 4 sprays, with this one I got a weak to moderate sillage. But I think if you spray it as you usually do, you will definitely have a solid moderate sillage with this fragrance. But it definitely does not outperform the Eau de Parfum. From all these flankers, the Eau de Parfum is the best performing fragrance, then the Absolu, and then this one. Do I prefer it to Terracotta? Objectively, yes, because objectively it smells smoother in a way, not so cheap, Not that this smells like a cheap fragrance. I mean, if we have to compare them side by side. Definitely smells smoother than the terracotta. I personally like terracotta more because I can spray this one without getting a massive headache, while this one, no. It was a little bit of a sunny day when I sprayed this one. Like, I tried to test it like the other fragrances, as I said. No. With the heat, I was dying from this fragrance, but it's a personal issue. And I have to also to say that every single person that I asked, which one do you prefer? They all went the Chloe Nomade one, including my 5-year-old son. So that says something. I'm not a fan of the santan lotion vibe of fragrances. So although I prefer terracotta, I only bought it because I want to compare the two. I am not into these kind of fragrances. I only can tolerate tropical fragrances when they are mixed with some fresh notes. So for example, hibiscus palm from Erin, that one I can tolerate. I actually adore that fragrance. But like these kind of thick, heavy, tropical, beachy, santan lotion vibe of fragrances, I personally am not a fan of. So overall, I'm a little bit disappointed with this release, mainly because I find that they should have come out with an independent fragrance. This has nothing to do with Nomade. I get it that they wanted to create the same inspiration, so like this freedom, like this free spirit, but with in mind desert and beach. And even if I take in consideration this inspiration, I don't get like adventure, free spirit, beach, desert vibe when I smell this fragrance. I get more of a typical commercial traveling type of a scent, if that makes any sense. No adventure here, no free spirit. So overall, if you love this santan lotion fragrances, tropical fragrances, I think you would absolutely love this one. And if terracotta is one of your favorite fragrances, so you are looking for something similar, not identical, similar with better performance, then Nomade Naturelle is definitely for you. But for the traditional Nomade lovers, I think most of them will definitely be disappointed with this flanker. So returning to the Nomade line, the original one is definitely the signature worthy scent from the bunch. Then we have the summer version in the Eau de Toilette, so sweeter, fresher. Then we have more for cold season fragrance in the Absolu version, so not sweet and more oak moss. And finally, we have beach suntan lotion fragrance with the Naturelle one. My absolute favorite is the Eau de Toilette because of this freshness, this brightness, this solar effect that this fragrance gives me, and still have this oak moss base, so it's not your traditional summer fragrance, and it's sweet but not too much. It's just, for me, perfect, the perfect scent. Then the Eau de Parfum. On number 3 is Absolu, and last is the Naturelle. So that was it. That was my review on the Chloe Nomade line. I hope you liked this video and you found it helpful, and if you did, please give it a thumb up and consider subscribing to my channel. Also, don't forget to hit the notification bell so you'll get notified when I upload any new video. Please tell me in the comments down below if you like this line and which one is your favorite. And also, if you did try the Naturelle one, what do you think? And when compared to terracotta, which one do you prefer? I am really curious about that. Thanks a lot for watching and see you next time. Ciao!